It's been well over a couple of weeks since Jacy Jane became the NXT Women's Champion by doing the impossible of defeating the one and only Stephanie Vaquer. Last week, last week on NXT, we saw Jacy Jane defeat Lainey Reed to retain the NXT Women's title in her very first ever title defense. Now, with Evolution on the horizon, she needs a new challenger for the NXT Women's title at the All Women's Premium Live event, Evolution. But the question is, who will step up to the challenge? That brings us to this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, where I will be talking about exactly who will take that challenge and step up to the self-proclaimed rock star of WWE. Now, I will admit, Jacy Jane becoming the NXT Women's Champion, absolutely unheard of. Nobody expected Jacy Jane to ever become the NXT Women's Champion. In fact, that moment definitely deserves a Slammy for shock of the year. In fact, that should be shock of the decade, because that completely shook the entire NXT Women's division to its very core, and it got fans thinking, what if Jacy Jane is the woman that we needed to become NXT Women's Champion? Well, now obviously that dream has become a reality, and now we need to find out who exactly will take the challenge of facing Jacy Jane for the NXT Women's title at Evolution, with the stakes being very high at that event. Well, last week on NXT, Ava announced that there would be four matches, and the winners of those four matches will face off in a fatal four-way, and the winner would face Jacy Jane at Evolution in Atlanta. So I am going to be going based on the 8 women who have been chosen to compete in these eliminator matches. So here are the eliminator matches that will be on the card starting tomorrow actually. They are as followed: Lash Legend versus Kalani Jordan. Zarya versus Izzy Dame. Thea Hale versus Jada Parker, and Lola Vice versus Jordan Grace. So you've got about literally all 8 of these women are huge fan favorites, and they definitely are the odds-on favorite to win not only their own excuse me, not only to win their own eliminator match, but also potentially win the fatal four-way. So let's talk about these 4 matches, starting with Lash Legend and Kalani Jordan. Obviously, we know that both these women have had quite the interesting rivalry over the last year or so, which led to which led to the disbandment of Metaphor, which led to half of the group literally getting released of their contract with WWE. So now both Jakara Jackson and Oral Mensa are now they're just doing their own thing outside of WWE, which congrats to them, by the way. So it comes down to who exactly is the woman to pick up this victory. As crazy as it sounds, it has to be Lash Legend, because the way I see it, Kalani Jordan, she's already been champion before, and some people believe that she doesn't deserve to be the NXT Women's Champion. Do I see it that way? No, I honestly don't. But between both of these women, Lash Legend has more to prove than Kalani Jordan, and the reason for it is because Kalani Jordan became the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion. So hypothetically speaking, if you're Lash Legend, what would be the one championship that you would want to go after before getting called up to the main roster? The answer is the NXT Women's Title. That being said, I feel like it has to be Lash Legend that takes the dub and moves into the Fatal 4-Way. Then of course we've got Thea Hale and Jada Parker. We, aside from the last month or two, we hadn't seen much of Thea Hale since Chase U had gotten disbanded last year at the hands of Reg Holland. But with Chase U back up and running, Thea Hale's been doing her own thing, and yes, she has had a string of victories over the last few weeks or so, but Jada Parker hasn't had a one-on-one match in at least a few weeks. So there's definitely a lot to prove on Jada's side, but it comes down to who wants it more. Again, I know I said that with the previous match, but it's got to be Thea. Jada Parker already had a shot at the NXT Women's Title back at Stand and Deliver a couple months ago. So Thea Hale should definitely pick up that victory. That brings us to Zarya and Izzy Dame. This is actually this will probably be one of the biggest matches on the card from amongst the four, because these are two powerhouses going at it. And I know for a fact that Zarya's gonna have Sol Ruka in her corner, and Izzy Dame is gonna have Sean Spears and Nico Vance of the Culling in her corner. So it comes down to who has the advantage. I would say it's Zarya, but Izzy Dame will always find a way to cheat to win, and I think that's what's gonna get her to I think that's what's gonna get Izzy Dame to picking up a victory over Zarya, is by obviously cheating. And of course we all know the expression, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Next up, and then of course Lola Vice and Jordan Grace. This is weird because both Jordan and Lola are two heavy fan favorites from amongst the entire WWE universe. We even saw last week at Worlds Collide, Lola Vice had 70 Vaqueros back in their tag match against Chica Tormenta and Dalis La Cabriana. I believe I said that one right. La Caribena. Yeah, Chica Tormenta and Dalis La Caribena. Yeah, I literally said that right. Holy shit. Anyway, so with that in mind, even in spite of the loss at Battleground, Jordan Grace is still hunting for the NXT Women's Title, and I don't blame her. But at the same time, again, at Battleground, she basically had her chance. She had her chance, and now it's time for her to step aside for a bit and let someone else take that opportunity. So it definitely has to be Lola Vice. So between Lash, Thea, Lola, and Izzy Dame, who is the woman to take that chance against Jacy Jane? Now, I believe it's supposed to be under elimination style rules with the Fatal 4-Way. So it'll be last woman standing gets that opportunity at Evolution. So let's talk about each of these four women individually. Lash Lash Legend, she has the agility, she's got the speed, she's got the power. She literally has all the tools she needs to become NXT Women's Champion. But the problem that I have with her is the fact that some people believe, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with this, but given what has happened with Metaphor, splitting up, and obviously, her losing her best friend, there's been a lot of chatter that Lash Legend might not even be all there. She might not even be focused on the whole tournament style, this matchup, given the fact that she's still been down in the dumps about losing her 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 best friend, and obviously spending way too much time with her man, the current TNA champion Trick Williams. So I don't know. That's a bit of a interesting ordeal. Thea Hale, again, she's back. She's been rejuvenated. She had officially revitalized her career. I think honestly she definitely has that killer instinct, and I think she got it the moment she left Chase U. And I feel like when she was still a part of Chase U, she didn't really have that killer instinct all that much. So I think that was the reason why she lost to become NXT Women's Champion the first time around, was because she wasn't able to have that killer instinct because of Chase U. Now that she's gone away from Chase U, she's gained that killer instinct. Izzy Dame, she has the killer instinct. She's got the power. She's got the agility. And as crazy as it sounds, she's long overdue for a shot at the NXT Women's title. Same thing with Lola Vice. The last time she had an opportunity at the NXT Women's title, it was last year. It was literally right around this time last year against Roxanne Perez at Heatwave. So with that, it comes down to who wants it more. So between these four, if I were to eliminate one person, it would have to be Lash Legend. I think just solely because of the fact that she has what it takes, but she doesn't have the killer instinct. She doesn't have the killer instinct to pull the trigger and become a major player in WWE. She doesn't have what it takes to push the envelope and truly make a name for herself. Because when she first started in NXT, she had her own talk show called Lashing Out with Lash Legend, and that was her thing. That was her thing. She would do that at least one like every week, once every couple weeks or something. And it wasn't until after about 8 months into NXT, where she was like, I'll get into the game. She got into it, and because of that, she had an opportunity to become women's tag team champions last year at Crown Jewel. So if she's able to pull that off, she could pull off the miracle of becoming NXT Women's Champion. But as long as she remains pure, if that makes sense, she's never gonna be NXT Women's Champion. Thea Hale definitely. So between these three, I would have to say Thea Hale. Eliminate her, and I feel like the reason why is because she still has a lot of proving to do. Yes, she did get a couple opportunities at the NXT Women's title and at the NXT Women's North American title. The problem is that she's too energetic, if you will. She's too energetic and she's not ready. Like, she still has a lot of proving to do in order for her to truly become a major player and become NXT Women's Champion. So that brings us to Lola Vice and Izzy Dame. Crazy as it sounds, I don't think it's Lola Vice. I think it has to be Izzy Dame. The reason why I believe it's not Lola Vice is because I feel like Lola Vice, yes she does have the killer instinct, yes she has the skills, she's got the speed, she's got the agility, she's got the power, she literally has everything. The problem that I have with Lola is the fact that she's always trying to help people in NXT. And yes, while I do agree that yes, that can be a good thing, it can also become a curse. And what I mean by that is if Lola Vice continues to help people within NXT, she's not going to be she's going to lose all focus and not even want to go after the NXT Women's title. So that being said, I feel like even with what happened at Worlds Collide, I feel like Lola Vice still needs to step up her game a little bit. Kind of like what Izzy Dame did by joining the Culling. When she joined the Culling, she reached her full potential. Right then and there, she reached her full potential, and now she has all the tools she needs of becoming NXT Women's Champion. So, my opinion, it has to be Izzy Dame. If not her, then who? And with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.